and
Hmm.
the force of his art. But let me go to our next one. I'd like to talk about Ray Manzarek of The Doors. And maybe by extension, we can talk a little bit about Jim Morrison because there was such a close
Hmm.
partnership between those two. Um, and Ray Manzarek of The Doors, he did do a lot of cool things with maybe modulations on his organ, with maybe getting it to do some kind of strange or unusual sounds. He played different tones and things, and we tend to think of psychedelia as actually altering the usual sound of an instrument or making it sound strange or doing it backward or whatever. And he did some of that, but that was not really where the force of his psychedelic intensity came from as a keyboardist. I think like if you listen to a composition like Light My Fire and the keyboard solo there, that there's nothing particularly psychedelic about the actual tone of the organ. Yeah, it's a nice, I mean, it's a nice tone, but the way he plays and the way he flows through the composition in such it's an incredible keyboard solo.
Hmm.
I think. I mean, I love that keyboard solo in Light My Fire, the
It's
extended
really
version.
good. It's really
Yeah,
good.
and it's great. I think that's so. Just for that, I would say Manzarek gets an incredible amount of respect for capturing the essence of the psychedelic feel just in his playing. You know, not in any
Oh
sound
yeah.
effects or any tricks, but just in the
Right.
way he played it. So
And and they had another song called "Not to Touch the Earth,"
yeah,
but I think they really I think Manzarek just gets really psychedelic in his playing on that song.
yeah, for sure.
But
You got to give.
it kind of goes along with the Bob Morrison's lyrics and stuff. But it's they kind of go into uncharted territory on that song. But
Yeah,
that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, we could go on about the different compositions that Manzarek contributed to, the way the interplay with Morrison, the interplay with Robbie Krieger on guitar, the interplay. I mean, again, the drummer John Densmore did some amazing things as well. I mean,
Mhm.
psychedelic drums and it's a complete package. But I don't know. I'm just putting more of the focus on Manzarek, and I think that I would assign him uh, probably a seven. Again, I know we keep doing sevens, right? But
Yeah,
and somewhere maybe a 7.5, a little bit higher,
yeah,
because just because of his musicianship and the fact that he did a lot without a bunch of fancy effects. It was just him really getting into the vibe with his playing as a keyboardist.
right, right.
Um, and let's move on to well, we're getting closer to our finalist here, but I want to bring up John Lennon.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of people think of the Beatles as being, hey, they were the founders of psychedelia. Well, I'm going to mention one particular composition. It's Tomorrow Never Knows off the Revolver album, and um, yeah, it's the one that goes, turn off your mind, relax, and flow downstream. And that was the brainchild of John Lennon. But let's be fair, Paul McCartney also stepped in and really got involved, was the tape loops and that kind of thing. He
Yeah,
helped do that. But John Lennon had the concept, and then Ringo came up with the incredible drum beat that goes with it. They had
right,
Jeff
yeah,
Emmerich, the sound producer, who decided to really push the mics in close to the drum kit to give it its huge feel. And then
yeah,
McCartney said, I want to do direct plug in to the monitor, which was unusual at the time. Usually they mic'd a bass, but then he just plugged it right into the monitor. And that's why that bass sound is just, very unusual. It was very radical recording process at that time. So I'm kind of putting Lennon in there because it would have been an amazing song without the vocals, but with that turn off your mind,
yeah,
relax. I mean, it becomes like a transcendental experience. And then there's some other things he did, Strawberry
yeah.
Fields Forever. Yeah.
I think lyrically, John Lennon was very overtly psychedelic.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
tried to take it into uncharted territory that way. I think the other members of the Beatles were also, they were also along for the ride, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and they were all sort of co-creators with that, especially Paul McCartney. But but yeah, I think John Lennon definitely belongs in the conversation for songs like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds
Yeah.
and
Mhm. Mhm.
I Am the Walrus. I
Yep.
mean, that song just blew my mind when I heard that on the radio as a kid when I was about, 4 or 5 years old, but that was just one of the most weirdest, most innovative songs ever written to me.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
his psychedelic period, it was kind of short lived, and then later on
Yeah.
the 70s, he sort of tried to disown that his psychedelic period a little bit, or like
Yeah.
he like in interviews he would say, "Oh, that was just a bunch of you know BS or whatever,"
Mhm.
But
He moved beyond it. Yeah.
yeah, he moved on. But I still think there's that later era of Beatles music. I don't think he ever got to that level as a songwriter during his solo years, But
Yeah. It was.
I kind of felt that was his artistic peak during the
Mhm.
late '60s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Abbey Road is not really a psychedelic. I mean, John Lennon's production, his contribution, he kind of had some psychedelic stuff on the White Album, but I think by the time Lennon got to Abbey Road, he had kind of abandoned psychedelia. He has some, of course, he has really strong compositions on Abbey Road, but what is it? He sings "Come Together." That's not really a psychedelic song. That's more like that's I don't know what you call it. I wouldn't call that psychedelia. It's a very intense
I think it
composition.
kind of is.
Oh,
I think it
okay.
kind of is a little bit, but
Yeah.
I do get your point. Like, I think that was kind of, I think they were almost going in kind of like a progressive rock direction on Abbey Road, like, like putting all those songs together to make one long, almost sidelong thing. That was like a very progressive rock kind of thing to do.
Well, I want to give
I'm
John
sorry.
Lennon. Sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
I was just coughing. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I want to give John Lennon an 8.5 on the psychedelic meter
Yeah.
because, Tomorrow Never Knows is kind of a foundational song for the entire psychedelic genre of pop music. I Am the Walrus is a quintessential psychedelic, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I mean, these are quintessential psychedelic compositions, hugely influential. He did transition out of it. He did kind of put it behind him, so he wasn't really maybe committed to that genre of music all the way through, and that's why I bring the number down a bit for him. So why don't we move on to Jimi Hendrix? A lot of people think Jimi Hendrix is the quintessence of the psychedelic guitarist. Um, but at the same time, I think that Jimi Hendrix was also the quintessential blues guitarist. He was a master of the blues genre. And so there's a mix there with Jimi Hendrix. I don't know. I don't know if Jimi Hendrix wanted to be pigeonholed into psychedelia. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I kind of have to take issue with that. I mean, he was a blues guitarist, but
Yeah,
I think in some ways it almost invented the whole psychedelic genre, with that
yeah,
first album of his,
yeah,
Are You Experienced?
yeah,
There's like a whole album of amazing songs, just doing all this innovative stuff on guitar.
yeah,
And that cover of that album, he had the whole look, the whole flashy, flamboyant look. And I don't know, man. I think I'd have to put Hendrix close to a 10 on our
yeah.
psychedelic scale
Yeah,
because
he was intensely psychedelic during well he yeah so I want to have a little debate with you here about what
okay.
the most psychedelic Hendrix composition. And I have two in my mind,
Oh,
and I
I
want you to tell
know.
me. I
I
think
already know which one.
these two, okay. The number one is "Are You Experienced," which I mean is it's like almost like it's all there. Everything that you would associate with psychedelia is in that song, right? There's another one though, which I don't know really means to be psychedelic, but it is, and that's Third Stone from the Sun. And it's funny because I read about Third Stone from the Sun. And that actually, when they recorded it, or what Hendrix's mindset on Third Stone from the Sun was, he wasn't looking to create a psychedelic song. He was actually trying to create a science fiction song. And because
Oh,
and people may not know what that song is about, but the song is about a alien that comes to invade Earth or comes to visit Earth, and that's why you have those voices at the beginning that go, and what he's really saying is uh, it's a conversation between two aliens, and if you speed up the record, you can hear what they're saying. There appears to be a planet here. It has life on it. Let's go down and take a look. More or less is what they're saying as they're going back and forth. And then there's a line when he's coming to the end of Third Stone from the Sun where he says, although your world wonders me with your majestic and superior cackling hen, your people I do not understand. So to you I shall put an end. You'll never hear surf music again. Remember that part? So he's uh
right, right.
yeah,
Well,
so it's a science fiction song, but which is more psychedelic? Are You Experienced or Third Stone from the Sun?
oh man. Third, I have to go with Third Stone, I think. But
Right.
he does have one that I think is more psychedelic than both of those.
Okay. Which one is that?
It's 1983 is
A merman I should be.
right from side three of Electric Ladyland. Yeah, that's
Uh,
there's no beating that, man. That's like the most psychedelic thing ever recorded, in my opinion.
okay. Well, you may have a point there. Yeah. Well, there are other ones that we could go on to other Hendrix songs that are really mind blowing. I mean, you might even say All Along the Watchtower is a psychedelic masterpiece as well. Um, uh, maybe
Well,
not, but yeah. Go ahead.
that one was written by Dylan.
It's just his interpretation of it.
Right, right. I
Exactly.
I actually like the Hendrix version of that better than I'm
Yeah.
not a huge Dylan fan though. I mean, I think he's a great lyricist, but his music just never excited me at all that much, really. But I mean, I respect Bob Dylan. I'm not trying to disrespect him or anything.
Well, as long as we're on the topic, if I had to assign a psychedelic meter to Dylan, I would probably give him like maybe a two or a three because he did have some
Really?
stuff. Yeah, did have some stuff in there that was a bit psychedelic, but that's not really what his vibe was, you know. He
Yeah.
was,
Well, I think lyrically,
yeah,
I like not. I don't think musically he was very psychedelic ever really, but I think lyrically he influenced a lot of the psychedelic bands. With
that's true. That's
just
true.
his style of poetry and song
Mhm.
lyrics, the way he wrote. It was different. He wasn't just writing love songs
Mhm.
like all the pop songs that came out in the 50s and 60s. He was doing like his own completely different thing, and he influenced tons of people with his lyrics.
That's a
I
good
know,
point.
and for like just for that alone, I would have to give him at least a five on the psychedelic meter.
Okay, you changed my mind. Let's make it a five. Yeah, I agree. All righty. Well, and I think I was going to we're going to give Jimi Hendrix an 8.5 on the meter. Uh,
Oh no, no, no! He
maybe a
deserves higher.
nine.
Yeah, he deserves at least a nine.
We give
Let's
him a
go.
nine. Yeah, because I wouldn't give him a 10 because I don't think he was entirely devoted to the psychedelic genre throughout all of his work. He did some stuff that departed from that. And that's okay. I'm not saying, oh, you must be completely dedicated to the psychedelic genre. That's not the point here. We're just trying to see who the most psychedelic musician is. And so it's about time for no, it is time for our honorable mentions. Uh,
No, we had one more
oh, we did? Okay.
top nominee
That's right.
that I wanted to fit in there,
Okay, let's do it.
and that was Frank Zappa.
Yeah, Frank Zappa.
And he was right there at the forefront of the psychedelic movement with his 1966 album entitled Freak Out.
Freak out.
And he blew the minds of everybody around the world, and probably just caused a big uproar, you know.
Mhm.
But Zappa just, I'm sorry, I'm just coughing like
Okay.
crazy today.
It's all good. Well,
But he was I think Zappa, I don't think he considered himself to be psychedelic really, but he really was, you know. I mean, he he influenced so many people from that era, you know, and he was just like pushed everything to the limits, both musically and lyrically. And although a lot of his lyrics were very tongue in cheek and kind of had that element of comedy to it, you know, or just not taking, not trying to be like super serious about things. But
right.
I think he's got to be included on the big list, you know, just because he was so influential. He's like a super great musician. He's probably one of the most prolific recording artists in
Yeah,
history,
true.
you know.
Yeah,
Anyway, what are your thoughts there?
oh yeah, so I wanted to talk about Freak Out as a very important album. It is a milestone in the psychedelic genre. It came out in 1966. It's hard to calculate its influence in so many ways. I mean, a lot of people associate Zappa with parody, and a lot of the stuff he does is parody, sarcasm, and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
there's not always a clear line in Zappa's work between sarcasm, parody, and just really getting into the vibe. I mean, he's having fun, but he's kind of making fun of genres or styles sometimes. But in the process of making fun, he also salutes it. So it's kind of hard. Like when he's doing the 1950s doo-wop style and or making fun of the
Yeah,
early
yeah.
60s, and you say it is a parody, but at the same time, he really gets into it. So
Right,
kind
yeah,
of like he salutes and parodies you at the same time.
exactly. Yeah, he's kind of hard to
Yeah,
figure out sometimes. Like, is he being serious, or is he just joking, or is like
yeah.
you never really knew with Zappa, you know, what he was
Zappa
trying to say.
Zappa took very seriously the stuff that he was parodying. That was the funny thing about it. And then when he got into the psychedelic genre, well, I mean, Freak Out is. I mean, it's hard to. It's a difficult album to describe because it works on so many different levels,
Yeah.
referentially. But it is a signature recording of that era. It does encapsulate a lot of the spirit of psychedelia, its values. He parodies those values. He kind of calls them into question. He flips them on his head. He plays with them, and he always seems to stay above the fray and everything. Like he was while everybody was doing drugs and losing their mind, he was there going like, these people are acting like jerks. I don't touch any of that stuff. You
That's
know?
true. Yeah, that's the biggest irony of Zappa is that
Yeah,
he didn't use drugs.
he didn't use
I
drugs.
don't think he drank either.
No, I don't think he did. But anyway, giving him the psychedelic meter, you got to give the guy at least a nine.
Yeah, you
And
do. You
we don't go
do.
all the way up to 10 there because Zappa reserved the right to do whatever he wanted. He didn't want to be
Right.
pigeonholed
And
by anything.
yeah,
So
I don't think he considered himself part of that movement,
no,
even
no.
though obviously he was instrumental in creating it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of
That's
the
the other irony of that.
yeah, yeah.